list is public.
Okay, I think we're going here.
Okay.
We ready?
I think so. Oh, it's working.
You do?
Nope. Yeah. Call the Farmer City Council meeting to order and roll call, please.
Castleberry.
Here.
Friedrich. Here. McKinley.
Yes.
Pratt.
Here.
Walton.
Here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, having no presentations or proclamations or public comment, we'll move on to the consent agenda, please. What?
I think we've got a discussion about the audit, Mayor.
Ah, got it. Have a discussion about the audit.
Yes. Your audit's been complete. You have a representative from the auditing firm to do that. Dave, you want to introduce me?
This is Renee Brooker. She's the manager of our audit from MCK Associates. She's the one that coordinated and finished the audit.
All right, I have a very brief, I promise, presentation for you. I'm Angie. My name is Renee Brucker, and I was the manager from MCK for the audit this year. I'll start by saying it was a pleasure, once again, working with the City of Farmer City on their audit. And overall, the audit went very smoothly this year. So kudos go out to Dave and the rest of the city staff for making our job a lot easier. Okay, so every report starts with our independent auditor's report, where we have issued a clean, unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That is the same as last year, and it is also the highest and best opinion that you can receive on your financial statements. Citywide activity for the year, and these are all activity as of April 30th, 2024. The citywide assets, consisting primarily of cash, investments, and capital assets, totaled $16.6 million. That was a $275,000 increase from last year, the result of additions to your capital assets. Citywide liabilities decreased $765,000 from last year to a total of $5.1 million. Decrease due to decreases in the bonds payable as you continue to make payments on those bonds. Total city net position at April 30th, 2024 was $10.6 million. That was a $600,000 increase from last year. Primary reasons for that were increases in most of your taxes, the receipt of final insurance proceeds from the building fire, increases in investment income, and a small decrease in your overall expenses. Then your funds are separated into governmental funds and proprietary funds. The city reports on 15 individual funds. In total, the governmental fund revenues remain stable compared to the prior year, and the governmental expenses increased $800,000, and that increase was all in capital outlay. Proprietary funds, you report on 4 individual funds. In total, those revenues also remain stable compared to the prior year, and the expenses decreased $275,000 from last year. After the schedules, there are notes to the financial statements to provide support to the schedules. Most of these look very similar to what was in last year's report. There was one new accounting standard that was implemented by the city during the fiscal year. However, it did not have a significant impact to your financial statements. The city's cash deposits and investments were all either fully insured by FDIC or covered by pledged securities as of April 30th. At April 30th, the city had 4 funds that were showing deficit fund balances. And there is a disclosure describing the redevelopment agreement that the city has with Tabling Development Company. At the end, there are supplementary schedules, these consisting of your budgetary comparison schedules showing how your actual results compared to your budget. And none of your major funds showed an excess of expenditures over budget. And finally, also assisted the city in drafting its annual financial report, which is required by the Illinois Comptroller. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. All right, appreciate your work, thank you.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank Okay. Sorry for that error. Now, on to the consent agenda, please.
Move to approve.
Call it, please.
McKinley.
Yes.
Stroud.
Yes.
Testori.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mayor, may I interrupt before?
Yes.
I notice here that on unfinished business, this ordinance here was previously tabled. So the proper procedure then, which I may suggest if someone is interested, is a motion to remove this from the table. That would require a second and then a vote, and then another motion to approve that particular ordinance. So it's a multiple step process. I hate to be so cumbersome, but yet I wanted to just point that out if that's what folks want to do.
Move to bring to the table ordinance 1130 and ordinance amending chapter 91 criminal public nuisance property amended.
I'll second.
Call it, please.
Stroud.
Yes.
Testori.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
McKinley. Motion carried.
Move to approve all ordinance 1130 and ordinance amending chapter 91 criminal public nuisance property amended.
I'll second.
Call it, please. Or,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm in a rut today. Have a discussion on that. Is there a discussion? Explain this. This is the one that
Yeah.
we had a police here, chief here for.
Right, chief is here. We had an original document that there were some concerns with. We took it back. Council looked at it. We reached out to other cities that have gone through the same type of pushback, have an amended ordinance, and this is what you have in front of you. And if you have any, the specifics, I'll let Chief drill down on those as to what it does and doesn't do for you, if you have any of those questions.
What does it do for us?
Well, as I put in the letter, basically what it's going to do is help us with rental properties that continue to have calls for service there that we don't have any criminal charges for. So basically, for example, we have a residence in the 500 block of North Main Street, and this year alone we've had 20 calls for service at that address. Most of them have been domestics, disturbances, people yelling, screaming, fighting. There hasn't been enough probable cause to like arrest somebody, but the disturbances are still happening. And so what this does, it gives us some teeth to go after the landlord and say, your property is a nuisance, we're continuing to waste our time and services and whatnot to respond to this residence. So basically this ordinance gives the landlord 3 instances within the year which are laid out in the ordinance. So they get 3 violations of the things that are set on the ordinance. They violate those 3 things within the year, their tenant violates those 3 things. We can approach them with a letter, we ask them to take care of it. If they don't take care of it, the next step is we go to court. And the court takes care of it, the court can impose a fine, if I remember correctly, and or seize the property up to 12 months so they can't rent it or anybody else can rent it. So, and the items are listed in here that meet criteria, like a barking dog isn't going to get you there. So under the criminal nuisance property, the offenses, I mean, some of them are a little extreme, but it starts out with homicide, kidnapping, and then it moves into other criminal offenses, bodily harm, theft-related calls, possession of explosives, weapons. What else is there? Mob action, disorderly conduct, gambling, prostitution. There's a whole range of motions. So they're fairly serious things. So like the one on Main Street that we're dealing with, that could have already been taken care of. All those would have probably fallen under disorderly conduct. We've been able to do something. I called that landlord 2 or 3 times, and it continues to exist, although it has died down a little bit in the last couple of weeks. But it's very frustrating for the neighbors and us to continually respond to a call, and you can't necessarily have enough to make an arrest, but then you leave and we're right back to shouting and it's disturbing the neighbors around in the neighborhood. So all we're trying to do is, we're not trying to tell you you can't come live here, discriminate against you. We're just saying when you're here, you're gonna behave yourself, and if you're not, we're going to take action against you. And if you're a landlord that has bad renters or crappy renters that are causing problems and violating this ordinance, you're gonna hear from us. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Well, you said the court can seize the property, you said there's a limit of 12 months on that.
I believe so. Is that correct, Joe?
I don't know about seizing the property. The court can,
It's a restraining order.
the court can
correct? Yes.
order that the owners abate the problem. So I would not go so far as to say they're seizing
I'm
the
just
property.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Mayor.
Understand.
It's a restraining order. So they issue a fine, or they can issue a restraining order, as Joe said, to keep anybody from occupying that residence, either renting it or sub-renting it, and it sits there empty, so.
The point is, they're not losing their property.
No, they're not losing
no.
their property. No, we're not taking anybody's property. All we're asking you to do is, if you're renting to somebody, you know, make sure your tenants are good folks, no matter where they come from, and don't be a habitual problem. Like I said, this is 20 calls already, and we're not even, you know, halfway through the year. That's a lot of calls for services and reports and time wasted, and aggravated neighbors who are aggravated with the landlord and us. And, you know, other than that, if we don't have this ordinance, then there's absolutely zero I can do about that except continue to respond to calls. If we have this ordinance, then we have some teeth to move forward and take some kind of action. And it's worked well in other communities that I've served in before, so. All right,
Yeah.
any other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Does this potentially open up the department or the city to liability?
Okay, well, this is not without controversy, to be blunt. The other municipalities have done this type of ordinance, but there has been some directives from the state of Illinois as to certain aspects we can't do. What we have done, I have done with the chief's input, everybody's input, is try to narrowly tailor this so that it complies with existing law about what we can and cannot do. Certain types of calls for service don't count, okay? It's things like a domestic does not count against the 3 strikes, I'll call it, okay? I'm just using that as just a general comment. So this is narrowly tailored to what we can or cannot do. Again, I'm not trying to tell you it's not without some certain level of controversy in other parts of the state. But we believe this complies with the law, and this provides another tool for the police department when necessary.
And obviously, you're gonna use emotional intelligence and empathy when you're applying this, you know. When you get to that third one, you know, I guess we're gonna have to sit down and look at all the factors, you know. Is there other circumstances that are occurring that we need to, you know, maybe let this go 1 or 2 more times, or, you know. So it's just, you know, I think there's some leeway, not just 3, and, you know.
So you would have some leeway within that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you agree with what I mean? You got.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course there's leeway, and then even once there's 3, there's the questions of, it's really a communication vehicle with the property owner to say, we collectively have a problem. Why do we keep being called to one particular residence? Again, and the reasons have to fall within the offenses described. Certain types of calls for service don't count. The chief's well aware of that, and they're clearly stated here. You know, then it creates the vehicle for a conversation with the property owner to say, we have a collective problem. Why can't we solve it?
Where this has been used, this has kind of motivated people to correct things.
To correct the action,
Before it gets
yes.
this far.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not saying we have a ton of bad landlords in Park City. We don't, because we've had other problems, places where we've contacted a landlord and they've taken action, and some do and some don't. But this particular residence has been a huge problem over the last 6 months.
But this isn't geared to one resident, this is,
Well, this covers the whole town, but I proposed this a while ago, and kind of put back on the back burner. If we had this already going, we wouldn't be here having this conversation, or we wouldn't have handled all those calls. It had been over with, hopefully, and gone, you know, the landlord would have complied, or we would have gone to court by now and had some resolution, and not got to the point where we're at 20 plus, you know, some calls for service for the same residents. So that's what it's designed for, you know. problem, like I said, it's nuisance properties, problem properties, tenants that are not keeping in with the bounds of the law and causing problems and causing disturbances and, you know, being disorderly.
All right,
Thanks, Chief.
thank you. I'm willing to pass it and debate it on the backside. Call it, please.
What do we,
We're
gonna pass this
We're gonna pass this ordinance.
okay.
Did you call for any further discussion on it?
Did you have any further discussion? Anybody?
Question,
What's that?
question.
You have a question?
When the question's been called for, then you vote.
All right. Basically, call it, please.
Stroud,
Yes.
Testor,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Friedrich,
Yes.
McKinley.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, we have a discussion from Chris Risler regarding the 2025 Heritage Days updates.
Oh, me already?
This is you.
I wasn't looking at the agenda. Okay, as you've probably heard, Heritage Days is moving to the fairgrounds next year for 2025. Sorry, Willard.
It's a mistake.
Just
Why would you say that? It's a mistake.
could have more volume.
What?
More volume, please.
From me?
Yes.
Why would you say that's a mistake?
It just is, it just, what if it rains?
Well, what if it rains uptown?
Well,
So-
you're not dealing with mud up here, you're gonna be dealing with mud up there.
Right, well, we don't have a concert if it rains. We have insurance, I mean, that kind of thing.
You can have a carnival. or they
We're
can-
having a carnival, well, same as always uptown, everything will be the same. We're having a rodeo, that's one of the reasons we're moving, because we were approached by a rodeo, a 2-day rodeo, which will be Friday and Saturday rodeo. We still need the help of the department heads for water, you know, electric. I have talked to Scott about this a little while ago. Do you have any other questions? Everything will be the same. The car show will still be Jim Quinn. It will be down east side of the track, this way, southeast side of the track. We're also planning, he's planning a cruise later that day, after he gives awards, to come down on Main Street. We'll need some help with that. Traffic, police, we've thought about maybe even having the roads blocked off from 3 to 4:30 so they could park uptown and do some different things. We also, for the loss of what's going on uptown with some of the things, we want to do a raffle where they would, we haven't got this all figured out yet, it's just a thought, where we would, if you go into a business, any business, Casey's, Huck's, any of the bars uptown, the pool even, you would get a punch card, and then you would be entered into a raffle for maybe a couple armbands for the kids to ride, different things. It's just a thought, we have to go further into it. It's early in the season. We've had a lot going on with the auction. I've been really busy with the auction, so I haven't really got into that yet.
How are you gonna handle the liquor?
It's our liquor license, as usual. We get a state liquor license and the city liquor license. The fair board will not, theirs will be void. They will have their beer tent with our beer. We will have 4 or 5 smaller beer areas that we will run, plus our normal our normal Tito's alcohol. So, it's just a bigger area, better parking. We talked about having a shuttle for the handicapped if they park in the normal space where, I don't know if you're familiar with the, I don't know what the barn is called over by the Legion, that building. They'll be parking there. We'll be utilizing all of the facilities at the fairgrounds. It'll take a year or so to get used to it, to get everything worked out. This is a learning year, but we hope that it's going to be just as fantastic as ever. The carnival's agreed, and so Floral Hall will be vendors. Probably some of the kids' stuff will be in Floral Hall. We'll still have the petting zoo. We have a different petting zoo, but we'll still have a petting zoo, tractor pulls for the kids, cakewalk. There will also still be on Thursday the SAL dinner that they have for free. So nothing's really changing, just the location, and we'll be more spread out. What?
Still gonna have live entertainment?
Yes, after the rodeos, yes, there'll be music after the rodeo, yeah, on Friday and Saturday, yes. Mhm. VIP and everything, yes. Anything else? We just hope that we get the cooperation, as I said, from the water, the electric, because we're gonna need some things up there. And we hope to work with the department heads, like we always have done, for a smooth transition.
Well, we'll help where we can. This is not a city event.
Right, right.
I mean, people, I've got a couple letters already.
Right.
And from my perspective, I spend the whole week negotiating between people and
Right.
and the police intervene, and I'm fed up with it.
And you're happy now. I
So,
mean,
well, it's not my event. I don't,
Right.
you have it where you gotta have it. But
You what?
I said, you do what you got, you have it how you have to have it.
Right.
I'm just saying, from my point of view, I field calls for a week.
Calls for what?
I field calls for a week where I negotiate between you and other people, and
Uh-huh.
so I'm happy. It's not a city event.
Mhm.
This is a Heritage Days event.
Right. Which is, Farm City is a major sponsor of that.
It is,
Yes. Yes.
and we'll continue to help where we can.
Okay. I'm happy to answer any other questions if anybody wants to call me or anything. Because like I said, we're just done with the auction, we're getting ready to do sponsors, and that takes a lot of time.
Do you have enough people on your committee? Do you need more people to help?
We can always use more people to help. We have
On
4.
the committee, planning committee?
Yeah, we have 4 right now.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But we can always use more help. I can make that 5 because I forgot about the kids zone thing, but 5 people. Okay.
Is there any other discussion, any questions?
No. No. Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a motion on item C, please.
Move to pass ordinance 1132, an ordinance implementing a non-home rule municipal retailer's occupation tax and a non-home rule municipal service occupation tax for the city of Farmer City, Illinois.
I'll second.
Have a discussion on this?
I can explain it, but
Okay, please do.
ordinance 1132 adopts the non-home rule